Quasi here, and in this video, I'm going to share with you the 2 ways to deal with pendulums in relationships. Before I begin this video, I wanted to announce the winner of my book, Life Mastery, and the winner is Mystic KP. I've replied to your comment on one of the videos. Just send me a message over at quasijoe.com and I'll get you set up. And I'm also announcing that I'm still doing this free giveaway until next week. So if you're interested, comment Life Mastery down below and I'll set you up with a free copy of my book. And it's around $12 on Amazon, but you can get this for free in the ebook format. And just comment Life Mastery to be enrolled in the competition to win at the end of the week. Also, I'm excited to announce that the Reality Mastery program is still open for enrollment in May, and we're offering free consults right now for a limited time, so wait till the end of the video for the announcement on that. So with that, let's get started with this video. Now, we know that pendulums are present everywhere. By the way, if you don't know what a pendulum is, it's basically a reality transurfing concept. And a pendulum is something external to you that you give your energy away to, and as a result, you have less intention energy available to pursue your goals. So pendulums come in the form of energetic structures that feed off of your energy. So something like a group, whether it be a religious, spiritual group, whether it be, a financial group, whatever it is, whatever you follow. By following it avidly, by participating in it, you give your energy away to it, and also by, sometimes you just get unconscious because, these pendulums are having a hold on you. So whenever you get unconscious, these pendulums are controlling you like a puppet. So you no longer have your own intention energy available. And a lot of the time people feel conflict because they want to pursue whatever the goals of their heart are, but they have been taught that, oh no, it's wrong to do this. And this is what the pendulum is teaching you. So something like social conditioning is what's known as the biggest pendulum right now in our society. So social conditioning is really 99% of the time it's good, but then 1% of the time when it's bad, you can't really pursue your goals. Your heart wants to do something, but then society says, you have to do a 9-to-5 job, you have to do this, you have to do that. And then it exerts its own rule, like do as I do. So like this, you're giving your energy away to pendulums and you're not able to walk your own path and pursue your own goals. And pendulums aren't really bad for you. They're just there. Like there's always going to be a pendulum. You're never going to be free from pendulums unless you get enlightened and you can truly walk your own path. So with that, let's talk about these pendulums in relationships. And you might be wondering, well, how can pendulums be present in relationships, Quasi? I thought it was just in groups. But then again, pendulums go into groups, but then they get into smaller and smaller subsects of group as well. So anything that is feeding off of your conflict energy, anything that feeds off of your energy and you react to it, that is a pendulum. So let's talk about pendulums in relationships. So the very definition of a pendulum is a structure that moves around and sways back and forth, right? So the only way to stop a pendulum, the only 2 ways to stop a pendulum are to damp it. So in physics, we have this thing, when you have a spring that oscillates, you can cause damping to it. So the only 2 ways to stop a pendulum in its sway is to first of all damp it, have some sort of a damping mechanism to cause its damping and inevitably cause it to stop swaying. And the second way is to stop supplying it with energy in the first place. So it just eventually doesn't have enough energy to perpetually keep going forth. Because it feeds off of your energy, it just keeps swaying and the sway gets stronger and stronger the more energy it feeds from you. So because you're supplying this pendulum with energy, this supplying of energy is also present in one-on-one relationship with someone, not just in groups that you participate in. So if we want to think about it this way, let's say you're talking to someone very close to you and you're in an argument, and we know that from the first rule of the pendulum, by the way, if you haven't seen the video on pendulums, click up here, definitely check that out because this won't make a lot of sense if you haven't watched the previous videos on a pendulum and don't know what that is. So in a group or in a one-to-one relationship, whenever there is conflict energy, the pendulum loves to come in and feed off of this conflict energy. So, what that means is if you're in an argument and you're participating in the argument, the more you argue, the more you react, the more you become unconscious. Like nobody would consciously want to argue. It just feels good. Like somehow you think it'll give you some sort of a satisfaction. But then immediately after you regret it. It's like you sort of get into the argument in the heat of the moment, but then it sort of feels satisfying, but it also feels like something's missing. And this is because the pendulum is sucking your energy. Whenever you feel like, it felt kind of good, it kind of felt good to react and be angry, but at the same time, something's missing. So whenever you feel that something is missing after an interaction with someone, after an argument, or any sort of encounter where there was some sort of reactivity in the heat of the moment, that means that the pendulum has successfully sucked some energy from you. And now you're left with less energy available. So let's say you're in a strife or a conflict with someone and you're arguing and you're arguing. What's happening is the more energy you supply to it, the stronger the pendulum grows and the stronger this argument gets. So let's say you're talking to maybe your mom. Sometimes I'm talking to my mom and she's like, oh, you never do the dishes, you never do the chores, you never do anything around the house. And then I react. I'm like, oh, well, I do. I do this, I do that. You know what? You're always complaining about me not doing anything. I just don't feel appreciated, blah, 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 blah. And this argument just gets escalated more and more and more. And the more this argument gets escalated, the more the pendulum comes into play. And the pendulum isn't just sucking my energy, it's also sucking my mom's energy and everyone's energies. It's just getting stronger and stronger because the two people that are interacting and contributing conflict to this are losing their energies, and it almost makes you feel drained afterwards. So you might be wondering, well, Kwasi, what's the way to solve this? So remember the two ways we talked about that, you can either damp it or just stop supplying it energy in the first place. Let's try to apply that in this scenario. So let's say you're in an argument with your mom or someone close to you, you're just having an argument. Now, what you must understand is that at any point in your life, there is always a script at play. So there are two models of reality in this reality transurfing paradigm. And if you don't know what reality transurfing is, definitely check that out. It's a book by Vadim Zeland, who is a famous, Russian. He's not famous, but he's famous now after writing reality transurfing, but he's a Russian quantum physicist who had a series of epiphanies that led him to write this book, which is essentially the manifestation Bible, if you will. It's just a quantum physics view of modeling the events in reality and understanding it. So if we get back into this argument and there's conflict between the two, what you must understand is that at any point in your life, there's always a script at play. So this is one of the two models of, quote unquote, reality, or just one of the two models under reality transurfing. There is the movie way of viewing reality and the events that occur in it, and there is the mirror way of viewing reality. This is the film way of viewing reality. So in the film way, everything has a script. So reality is dual in that nature. It can both be a film, it is also a mirror at the same time. So there is a script at play. So right now in your life, there is a predetermined script that's at play. So this predetermined script is what you call fate. Whenever something lives unconsciously, then it is subject to this script. Whenever you live consciously and you have your attention to its center, and if you don't know how to bring your attention to its center to detach from the script, click up here. There's a great video on this, and you should definitely watch that out. So whenever you're living unconsciously and you're participating in life unconsciously and you're not really thinking about what you're doing and you're not doing everything consciously with your attention under your control, then you're under this fate model and you're being controlled by the predetermined script that's at play. And this script keeps playing over and over until you can break free from it, which is essentially enlightenment or the end of the rebirth cycle, if you will. So this script keeps playing over and over, and this script will also take you under its control. And whenever this pendulum is at play in an argument between two people, when you're arguing with your mom, what's happening is the pendulum is putting forth a script. It's saying, okay, this is the script that's going to play. And then the pendulum has its own game, and you're participating in the pendulum's game. And you're saying, oh, whoa, my mom's arguing with me, I must argue back. This is how the script should unfold. So when your mom tells you something like, oh, you don't do the chores, then the script that's at play is like, this is an argument, so I must argue back. And you unconsciously do that because the pendulum is hooking onto you and taking your energy. So you're unconsciously reacting to your mom, and as a result of unconscious reaction, you're giving more energy away to this pendulum and having less energy available for you. So now the pendulum is putting forth a script and you're abiding by this script and following the script. The only way to get free from the script right now is to put forth your own script. And the only way to do that is to become completely conscious. Now you'll see that somehow witty people always seem to find their way and get out of arguments. I always wondered why. But now really thinking about it, this makes sense to me because, why is it that witty people just do some joke and then they all of a sudden make someone else laugh and then get out of an argument? And this again goes back to that concept of damping the pendulum and stopping its sway. So if you really think about that, it's like, oh, if there is an argument right now and I just make a silly joke, then the script, the pendulum that put the script there that says, oh, now it's time for argument, you must argue, but then you become conscious and say, no, this is the pendulum trying to play me. So I'm going to say, no, I'm going to put my own script where I make my mom laugh instead. So when she says, oh, you never do the chores, etc., etc., I'm like, yeah, I never do the chores because I love you, and then you go give her a hug. So this is you saying that, no, I'm not going to play by this script, I'm going to put forth my own script. So just by doing that, you follow the first solution of stopping a pendulum sway, which is you damp the pendulum by putting forth your own script. This is what is known as flipping the script. Whenever something is supposed to go a certain way, you can completely flip the script and no longer be subject to pendulums. Once you start doing this, more and more intention energy will be available to you. So imagine what your mom's reaction would be to like, oh, I love you, and you go give her a hug. And she's like, what's going on? What? She'll completely forget what she started arguing about in the first place. Like changing the subject also works, but it's not quite as effective. I found that flipping the script is effective. So, really think about it this way. If someone comes to rob you and, someone's like, let's say, you're walking on the street one day and then someone pulls a knife on you. And they're like, oh, give me all your stuff. Give me all your money, give me your wallet, blah, blah, blah. And then you just look at that person and then you just start taking your clothes off and you start getting in your underwear. Like, what do you think happens? It's like completely going left field. Like, this is not what's supposed to happen. You're putting forth your own script. Like, why is he getting undressed? I'm asking for his money. And then you pretend like you don't understand English. You say, oh, clothes off? Oh, no clothes? Like, just think about it that way. How can you make it really funny? Because humor will always overcome this pendulum. Because pendulums always feed off of this conflict energy that you're putting forward. So the more conflict energy, the more reactivity there is, the more it'll feed off of it. Humor is a very, very serious quality in spiritual advancement. Like, don't underestimate the power of humor. Like, humor is extremely serious in like, if you look at any sort of spiritual leader, they'll always make some jokes. Like, if you look at Sadhguru, if you look at Eckhart Tolle, they always find something funny and then they just start laughing and then they have a great time. The more you can laugh, the closer you can get to spiritual advancement. So, that's why spiritual leaders are rarely ever serious. Like, you think that spiritual leaders would be serious, but the true spiritual leaders who are like really, really enlightened are always humorous. They'll always find something funny because they realize that this is a cosmic illusion and you don't have to play by the script. When you play by the script, you give in to the pendulum. When you can free yourself from the script, then you can make jokes. Like, think about something really serious happening to you in your life. If you can just start laughing about how serious it perceivedly seems, then this script no longer has a hold on you. Like, you can detach yourself from the script. So, going back to that concept, the first way to stop a pendulum sway is to completely detach from the script, first of all, and then put humor in forth. So you must flip the script. Whenever you get into an argument with someone in this relationship or, someone comes to mug you, you just find a way to make it funny. Like, how do you think the mugger would react if you were to just start stripping and pretend like you don't know English? Like, I'm sure it would just not go the way the robber wanted. Just like that, that is the first solution to completely stopping the pendulum sway and getting what you want, because now you're putting forth your own script. So after you make that humor transition, you can unfold it the way you want it to unfold. Now, let's talk about the second solution to the pendulum. Now, we talked about, first of all, you create damping in the pendulum to stop its sway. And the second solution is that you actually deprive this pendulum of energy in the first place. And when you deprive this pendulum of energy in the first place, then it just sways until it comes to a stop. And the only way to do that is, you've guessed it, to completely ignore the pendulum that's there. Like, imagine, going back to talking to your mum, and now you don't flip the script. ignoring the pendulum also comes under flipping the script, but in a way it's more like, oh, well, let's say someone is messaging you incessantly on Facebook, someone's stalking you, someone's like incessantly messaging you. If you just completely ignore them, or some friend just keeps texting you all the time, bothering you, if you just completely ignore them, then it just disappears. Like they just get the point. Like this pendulum now no longer has any conflict to latch onto. If something is unwanted is happening to you, you just completely ignore it. Like you deal with it, but you just don't emotionally react to it. Because whenever you get into an emotional reaction mode, then you give your energy away to it. Whenever you engage with the pendulum, then you give your energy away to it. So let's say your mom is trying to argue with you. You just completely ignore the argument, and then, you just... In this case, it's not the most effective, but in other cases, ignoring the pendulum is very effective. So you must know when to use what. And that's really the two things that I have to share with you. So again, recapping, pendulums are everywhere. So it's not just in groups, it's just an energy structure that likes to feed off of conflict energy. And pendulum's second rule, and again, you can recap all of this by clicking up here. The pendulum's second rule is that it'll always try to stabilize the structure, which means it'll say, do as I do, Whenever you try to follow your own path, it'll say, no, don't go your own path. You must stick to the 9 to 5. This is what everyone does. And then you get confused and you're like, oh no, this is what everyone's doing. Then I should be doing this. And you get fearful of pursuing your own path because you believe that, oh no, I'm going to be deprived of energy, because it's that perceived security, that sense of security that you feel. But the real thing that you're sacrificing by not doing what you want is not living a fulfilling life. Like 10 years later, do you want to look back at your life and be like, oh, what if I did that? Because I personally don't want to do that. So the two solutions to pendulums in relationships is, first of all, understanding that in order to stop the sway of a pendulum, you must create damping. And the necessary conditions to create damping is done by flipping the script, because understanding that there is a predetermined script at play, you can detach from it and put forth your own script, makes you more and more powerful in detaching from these pendulum's influences. So the way to do that is, let's say you're in an argument, you just make it humorous. Humor is a very serious quality in flipping the script. The second way to do that is to ignore the pendulum completely. So if you ignore the pendulum, then it no longer can latch onto your energy. So you're just not stopping the sway actively, you're just depriving the sway of energy in the first place. Whenever someone tries to stir conflict with you, you just completely ignore them. Whenever someone is incessantly texting you, looking for conflict, looking for argument, you just completely ignore them. Whenever argument is trying to come your way, you just say, nope, ignored. So in those two ways, you can completely eliminate the influence of pendulums in relationships. And with that, I hope this video helped, and I hope this video made sense. I know this was a long video. If you've stuck through this, then you probably now know how to get rid of the influence of pendulums. And I hope you enjoyed this video and benefited from it. Please put this stuff into practice, because practice without, just consuming theory is just completely useless. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment if you have any questions below. I'll be happy to help. Also, I'm excited to announce that I'm growing a massive Facebook group where we have around 1,200 members now sharing great value. And I would love for you to be a part of this community where we have like-minded individuals pursuing similar paths and just learning to use advanced techniques of law of attraction in your life. Click on the link below to join. And I'm also super excited to announce, as mentioned before, that the Reality Mastery Program is open for enrollment. If you don't know what the Reality Mastery Program is, it's basically catered around the most powerful paradigm of manifestation. Because in my personal life, I found out that no matter how many law of attraction techniques I tried, eventually they became stagnant. And techniques are just by the hordes. Like, I would have to sort out between technique after technique. Oh, this one works, this one doesn't work. This one is working now, but then a month down the line, oh, I'm not getting anything from it. Crap, what do I do? Then I found a way to implement what is known as principles. If you understand certain principles of reality, then you can manipulate it and get what you want. It is good to manipulate reality, not good to manipulate people. So definitely manipulate reality. And what we do in the Reality Mastery Program is focus on the deepest paradigm of reality, which is the becoming and the being paradigm. And everything in reality is always in a state of becoming and being. Nothing will ever be its ultimate potential. It's always in a constant state of unfolding and becoming. This is the law of variation. And in the Reality Mastery Program, what we focus on is identity shifting, where we help you become the person first. And as a result of becoming, you'll attract the things that you want in your life. Like I found out that in my personal life, I became, the attractive version of Quasi, then I attracted my dream partner. I became a 4.0 GPA student, embodied the qualities of a 4.0 GPA student. I attracted a 4.0 GPA into my life. I shifted into the character of a successful entrepreneur Quasi that is a successful coach. Then I became a successful coach and I started getting clients into my program. So in this way, I was able to do whatever that I wanted in my life. And this is for people who want transformational changes, not for like people who want, $100 here and there, parking space. If you're sick of getting little things in your life that don't quite matter, then this program is definitely for you. So if you're interested, I'm offering a free consult where we will diagnose your current law of attraction practice and how you can implement identity shifting into your life and if it would benefit you. So definitely click on the link in the description below and I hope I see you there. Till next time, peace.